food.
This is the Front Page Review on Voice of the People, 96.1 FM. My name is Gesire Agua.
And of course, I am Simeon Sunday. Good morning. Welcome to your favorite station. Of course, it feels so exciting to be back on your radio, on the weekday mornings. I know some of us, we don't like Mondays.
Well, Mondays doesn't like you too. Let's just leave it at that. But hey, the news never sleeps. The news never goes on weekends. We come back to always touch light on the news. Anyway, we'll start the show obviously with who said what over the weekend. A lot of things happened during the course of the weekend, so we'll be checking out some of the leading stories. And first on our list this morning is ECOWAS lifting sanctions on Niger. This is amid the tension in the West African bloc. So let's check out what was said and who said what.
President Bola Tinubu emphasized the importance of a comprehensive
this. Currently, we face in our sub-region demand that we take difficult but courageous decisions that put the plight of our people at the center of our deliberations. This is why we must re-examine our current approach to the quest for constitutional order in 4 of our member states.
He also reaches out to the military.
Okay, so that was President Bola Ahmed Tinubu speaking on the need for the lifting of the sanctions on Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali. It's a good one, as this was the big story over the weekend, where we saw the president alongside who is the head of the ECOWAS lifting this ban. A lot of people have actually called for the lifting of some of the sanctions on these countries, and the president gave reasons why the regional bloc had to do this. It's for humanitarian reasons because of the crisis, and of course they've lifted some sanctions, not entirely all sanctions. They stopped the no-fly zone where other countries could not fly through some other African countries, and also they lifted the closure of borders. So now Nigeria can now open its borders to Niger Republic, can open and other African countries as well can now open their borders to this country, so food can go in, as food crisis has been a major issue for this regional bloc since they reverted from civilian and of course democratic rule to the military rule.
Well, that's the story. That's one of the biggest stories. We'll be checking it out. Obviously, we'll look at it during the front page review when we're checking out some of the headlines, so we can delve into why it was important that Nigeria and the ECOWAS chairman had to lift the sanctions off of these 3 countries. We'll check out our second story this morning.
And the second story, in fact, it's self-explanatory. Once you listen to it, you know what we want to talk about, basically.
Live and direct from Itachi. These are human beings fighting for the 10,000 naira rice, which eventually became free. But guess what? They started matching each other, climbing each other. Look at how that human being sitting on people. Like, it's so crazy. Nigerians are also a problem.
Well, this was based off of the 10,000 naira to a bag of rice that
25 kg of rice.
25 kg of rice that customs was going to give out to some individuals or some people over the course of the weekend last week, Thursday, Friday into the weekend. And we see what exactly played out in that particular video. Nigerians, I don't know why we do this to ourselves.
I love what the guy said. He said Nigerians, we are our own problems. I understand. And from the narrative, we've seen or heard over the weekend, the customer was supposed to sell the bag of rice for 10,000 naira. And of course, at the point, they decided to give free. Some Nigerians, and that was where there was pandemonium, according to my English speaking people. Imagine, I heard the report, APC actually put out a statement because one of its stakeholders died as a result of that stampede that happened and 5 other persons. It is reported that 6 people lost their lives as a result of that. Imagine what should be free for people, what people should enjoy and benefit from. Patients couldn't allow us enjoy it. Really sad one. And may the soul of those who lost their lives rest in perfect peace. And let's move over to Edo State, talking about the drama that played out.
It will be unending up until the elections, right? We're going to see a lot of drama just before the elections. But let's check out what exactly is happening in Edo State.
And of course, let's start with one of the APC aspirants, condemning the results of the election held by Governor Otu.
Thank you so much, gentlemen of the press. First, you need to know me. My name is Anameru Sunday Dekeri. I was the leading aspirant of in the APC primaries that had just been concluded. The result has just been declared. I want to salute the electoral committee for even coming to Edo State in the first place. I salute the party and of course all stakeholders. But I need to make this very clear that the result as announced is totally at variance with the reality. Everybody knows that I was the leading candidate, I was the leading aspirant during the beginning to the election. The party assured us, of course I know very well that in a contest like this, only one winner, only one person can be the governor of Edo State at a time. I had that at the back of my mind. However, the party assured us that we should go out, mobilize our supporters, that the election, the primary election will be free and fair, because the party said she was determined to produce the best candidate for Edo people. As it starts today, if you heard the result that were declared, it was a mere charade. Imagine, during my House of Rep contest, I contested the House of Reps. I scored recorded numbers just in my federal constituency. During the campaign for the general election of 2023, I campaigned around Edo North, where I have my foundation running over the past 50 years. The total vote, the president recorded in Edo State, 144,000 votes. We put 100,000 votes. Could you hear that I was told that I scored just 2,000 votes? We have to mobilize 65,000 votes of the total vote, the voters that turned up for the primaries. It's a charade, it's unacceptable, and I think the party should address it urgently.
That means you are going to approve the panel, appeal panel here.
Definitely, that is a process. We are going to the appeal panel to let them. I'm going to the appeal panel to let them know that the result declared is not a reflection of our performance. I won the election. I have that strong conviction based on my mobilization that I won. Thank you very much.
Guess you heard that. That was Anameru Sunday, one of the governorship aspirants, stating that the election was a total charade. And of course, we saw
another,
as well, Governor Basio too. He is the recent chairman of the Edo Fresh Poll, after that of Governor of Imo State also was annulled by the party as well. But something really struck me before we go to that of the PDP. Anameru, his name is, this man who just spoke, his name is Anameru Sunday, and the person who was declared by Governor Otu as the winner, his name is Monday Okpebolo. That's his name. So Nigerians are saying Sunday no grief for Monday. So Nigerians are finding a way around it. Let's say Sunday no go grief for Monday for this one. But anyways, let's check out the PDP's primaries after the APC's drama. And of course we heard Philip Shwaibo, the deputy governor, also speak about the elections that took place in Edo State as well.
Yes, if the process from when Enugu governor came and all the processes follow our rules and regulation, and I will be in that stadium. If I win, fine. If I don't win, I will congratulate the winner and work with the winner. I'm somebody that I'm a team player. Even the governor knows I'm a team player. And I'm loyal to friendship and loyal to my work. I am somebody that believes in team play and teamwork. And that is why nine of us insisted that the processes must be followed. And there are issues with these processes. Why? Because we want PDP to have a candidate. I want PDP to produce one of us, and all of us need to follow that person. And we're consistent about it. So, Chimbili, you cannot have 9 persons saying one thing against one, and that one is right against the other 9. It doesn't make any sense.
But it turns out that all 9 of them.
Okay, so you've actually heard, the deputy governor and of course the aspirant at the Edo State, PDP election, stating that what we saw play out with the parallel primaries, where at one we saw Aswego Dalo emerging the winner, and at the other end, Philip Shuaibu was declared the winner. That 9 aspirants kicked against the primaries that no, they will not support the one that happened at the Ogbemudia Stadium, where Aswego Dalo came out or emerged victorious at the election. Looking at all the primary, but it seems like the Labour Party is the only political party right now without too much drama. It wasn't expected. We saw Olumide Akpata emerge.
Simeon, at this point in time, everyone is hustling. They're trying to jostle and bustle to get that particular seat, because are you seeing the situation in the country? It could just be, the most lucrative seat ever at this point in Edo State. So you can imagine the struggle for it. Everyone will be vying for that particular seat, except, Labour Party was one that had a pretty much a peaceful election all through the electoral process. Trying to get the person to be the flagship of the party in Edo State, and we had Akpata emerge as the flag bearer of the party.
I watched Akpata over the weekend speaking on his emergence and how the party came together to ensure that he emerges. We just hope that as much as we are hailing the Labour Party right now, that it almost seems like theirs was the most peaceful as opposed to other opposition. We just hope that we don't get to hear another story that while we were celebrating Akpata here, someone in their house was having another parallel primaries right in their bedroom with their wife, because that is what we hear in the Nigerian political space.
Yes. All right, we'll be getting to Rufai in just a moment. Don't forget, this is the Front Page Review on Voice of the People 96.1 FM, and we'll be checking out some of the leading stories. We'll be joined shortly by Rufai Hosseini via telephone, and then we also have a guest analyst waiting for us at the top of the hour, 8 a.m. So make sure you're keeping it locked right here. We'll be back in just a moment. Stay tuned.
You can take the boy out of radio, but you can't take the radio out of the boy, can you?
Broadcasting in high definition.
Voice of the People, 96.1 FM.
Variety is the spice of our station.
Voice of the People, 96.1 FM, Abuja. Now, you have a voice.
Today's sun is so hot though.
So what are you waiting for? Get the authentic taste of creamy cold berry ice cream. To order online from Gariki, call 090-8831-5907. Guarimpa 090-8831-5909. And Lugbe 090-8845-3416.
Enjoy authentic cold berry ice cream.
We have been serving you hot and fresh content on radio, and you have been loving it. Now we're taking it further. Catch us live on YouTube at BOP TV for all the juicy content you can't resist. Talk shows, exclusive interviews, news, lifestyle, and more. It's all about you. BOP TV, show up, speak up.
It's thrilling, controversial, heated, thought-provoking. Catch Rufai Oseni.
Kenya to misrepresent the facts today as regards subsidy removal.
Kesire Aqua.
Report was that $9 billion is lost yearly to illegal mining.
And Simeon Sunday.
If you know something of this nature is happening within your community, why didn't you raise an alarm?
On the Front Page Review, weekdays at 7:15 a.m. Now you have a voice.
Good morning to you and welcome back. This is the Front Page Review, where we cut across different newspaper headlines just to check out how they affect you as Nigerians and us as Nigeria. We'll be cutting across different headlines this morning, different newspaper companies this morning, from Punch to Vanguard to Premium Times to Leadership to The Nation newspaper. We'll be checking out a couple of headlines here just to ensure that we cut across all of them as they are important to you as Nigerians. Don't forget to be a part of the conversation. The phone number to call, it is at 0700 010 961 961. 0700 010 961 961. We're also live on YouTube
at Voice of the People Abuja. That's the YouTube page. Feel free to subscribe as well as drop a comment as well. And of course, this is the Front Page Review, and we're joined by Rufai Oseni. Good this morning. Good morning to you.
Morning guys.
Happy Monday. Beautiful new week.
Okay. Yeah, beautiful new week. How's it going, guys?
All right, it's going well. Let's start with ECOWAS lifting sanctions on Niger Republic. Just how important? Why was it important to lift those sanctions? I mean, the president had listed humanitarian reasons as part of the reasons why those sanctions were lifted. But what do we stand to gain if those sanctions are lifted?
I think the president has finally realized that his attempts to go to war with his neighbors was an ill thought out decision, and now we're looking at the path of peace. So these countries have also further tightened the noose on Nigeria by saying your planes can fly in my airspace, and they said they were going to leave ECOWAS, and the president will not want ECOWAS to be in disarray under him. And I think in line with the advisory of former President Yakubu, this was part of the things he said in his letter. It was just best to leave sanctions, calm things down so that they can go back to the table and discuss with these countries. Yakubu Gowon is the last founding father of ECOWAS in 1975, and he knows the antecedents of ECOWAS and everything. So I think his advisory aggravated. Whatever the government say humanitarian, yeah, it could be humanitarian, but really it's because we're suing for peace now. And also, when you look at the West African sub-region, Indonesia with a lot of problems with Senegal and the likes, they're still going back and forth as regards elections. So I think it was just the best thing to have done. And it's a welcome, it's a decent move.
Okay, talking about the sanction on, this countries, talking about the 4 countries, a former member of the House of Reps, talking about Dr. Bugaje, have come out to say the president was ill-advised. And of course, according to him, he said Lagos boys were the ones that misled the president on the Niger crisis. What do you think about it? Do you think, some individuals influence the president's, choice?
Decision.
I don't think individuals would influence your decisions. Where's your own sense? I mean, there's no how. No matter how much you tell me the benefits of putting my hand in fire, I will not put my hand in fire. And I don't want to believe some people led him. There were also Western pressures. I think it was more about trying to tilt towards Western pressure. The West will never want to do their dirty job. They'll look for proxies to do their job. I mean, we can go back historically how Africa in the 70s became a proxy battleground for the Cold War. The ideologies, take for instance, you remember the fight in Angola between the MPLA and UNITA, and how the Americans were heavily support the likes of Jonas Savimbi against, the MPLA and all of that. And also remember what happened in Mozambique with the likes of Frelimo and all of that. The Soviets were supporting one part. I think the Soviets were supporting MPLA in Angola. Americans were supporting Jonas Savimbi and the UNITA and all of that. So, these things are proxy warfare. So that was what they wanted to set up. But in also listening to the West, then I'm not sure we took into cognizance the very strong cultural ties between Nigeria and Niger. I mean, there was former President Muhammadu Buhari that says my family's in Niger, or my relatives are in Niger. Truth has to be told, almost everywhere you turn to, you have a Nigerian in the north that has some extension in Niger. So these things came to play, and that's why you saw there were massive protests and everything. But once the president saw that it was ill-advised, he backtracked. So there are many fundamentals. So this idea of the North constantly attacking and saying Lagos boys, I don't understand what that means. There were many things that happened during that period.
Okay. All right, Mr. Rufai, still on this issue. I mean, they had raised a couple of reasons, talking about regional cooperation in terms of the fight against terrorism, seen as, sometimes some of these terrorists move within our region, right? And then they also called security cooperation in terms of sharing intelligence and, participation, and also in terms of immigrations as well. Some of these reasons were what was listed as some of the things that they considered when lifting the ban. So were these things not considered before giving those sanctions?
Like I said, there were many influences, but I'll really pick. I think the influence of the West was so strong, and also remember the antecedents then that the president was trying to show the West he was an ally. Remember then, that was the first call he received from Vice President of America over the Niger crisis. So I think it was also the pressure from the West. But now the cultural pressures really held sway. So now that they've seen that this is nowhere else, the West will systematically try to realign and recalibrate, because it's not hard and fast. I mean, God knows how many, uranium concessions or uranium influence capital that France lost in all of this, because Niger was heavily producing uranium. So it's also looking at that dynamic. So many, there's the trade and the political dynamic angle to it. So Niger was a solid mineral deposit for countries like France and,
Okay.
One or two things. So let's see how it pans out.
Okay, while we see how that pans out, there are also considerations how tomorrow will pan out, especially for the NLC and other trade unions that are set to embark on, a 5-day protest from tomorrow. Because we heard report they now want to extend the protest till Saturday. And yesterday we saw the presidency warning the NLC, and even the Nigerian police issued a fresh warning. And we are hearing reports that about 65 civil society groups have now pulled out from the proposed protest. Now the question is this not a dent on Joe Ajero? Groups pulling out, the presidency threatening, police threatening, Femi Falana also speaking that they are not in contempt of any court. They can go ahead with their protest if they want to.
Mr. Rufai. Hello.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, hello. Are you there? Okay, we'll try as much as possible to see if we can recalibrate our network and get access to him right back. And now we're talking about the protest. According to reports, it's supposed to be a 2-day nationwide protest by the Nigerian Labour Congress. But now the presidency, the special advisor to the president on information and strategy, Bayo Nanuga, and even the police have handed down warnings to these individuals not to embark on any form of protest, warning that there's a possibility that certain elements would hijack the process and thereby worsening the already deteriorating security situation in the country. And of course, Joe Ajero, the NLC president, have actually insisted that the protests will still be held on Tuesday and Wednesday as planned, and there are even reports that this protest might even go beyond extend beyond Wednesday, as it has been reported right now nationwide. Now, the question we are asking, yes, we understand the place of the police to ensure the security of people, but when you see the police make remarks like this, and of course Bayo Nanuga, we know he has always been vocal when it comes to issue regarding the presidency, also warning Labour Congress and even threatening lawsuits as well. You get to ask yourself, do people not have the right to protest against what they feel might be a case of injustice, may be a case of neglect, a case of insensitivity to their plight?
Simeon, at this point in time, that has been the body language of the government, especially moving into the APC. We saw that play out a lot because if you recall, this particular APC, they were the then opposition during Goodluck Jonathan's, the former president Goodluck Jonathan's administration, and they had such an active opposition that they had protests here and there for every time there was a protest, and nobody in one way or the other tried to infringe on their human rights to make sure that they don't speak or they do not exercise their human rights to speak. Well, we saw that play out during Jonathan's administration, and then moving in to the Muhammadu Buhari's administration. Yes, some of the things we said. Okay, we have Mr. Rufai back on the phone.
You're welcome back, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We're talking about the
protest.
NLC protest, where Bayo Nanuga is saying that they are doing this in contempt of court.
Just trying to play hanky. This was the same actors that went on protest with the NLC then against Goodluck Jonathan in 2012.
Hello.
Okay, we'll try to get across to him right back. We don't know why Monday morning network is acting up, but hopefully we get the NLC protest, the statement of Bayo Nanuga, and of course the statement of the Nigerian police.
Hello.
Can you guys hear me?
Welcome
Yes,
back.
we
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, so these were the same actors that stopped, that shut down the country with strikes. Truth has to be said, NLC has a right to strike, all right? And Joe wrote a letter talking about the fact that some of the civil society groups that are claiming that they pulled out, they are sponsored by the government to be able to discredit them.
Yeah, hello.
I don't get the network this morning. It's just extremely appalling. But we'll try to reach back to Rufai so we can get the meat of this matter. It's really important to talk about NLC and the protests. But Simeon, where I was going to is not necessarily the fact that people can no longer exercise their rights as citizens, right? It's the fact that we do not have investigations on some of these individuals who hijack protests. We saw that play out very, very much during, the Buhari's administration. Individuals hijack, protests, and no investigation is done to ascertain, okay, who sponsored what.
Individuals hijack protests. You all know that if the government wants to have free and fair protests, it will happen. When individual hijack protests, there's an element of state in it. Go and accept that fact for me today. During the subsidy protest in 2012, I once asked somebody that served in Goodluck Jonathan's government, and I asked him that was there ever a time they advised Goodluck Jonathan to use the military on the protesters? He said yes. But Goodluck Jonathan said, never. I will never suffer my people.
But you saw what happened in Enter. The protest getting rowdy. Was it not the thugs linked to certain political leaders that started the fight? The first days were peaceful, weren't they?
Mm-hmm.
So let's stop acting like we don't. Once any protest is hijacked, there's an element of faith in it. And when you look at it, these so-called thugs and miscreants, are most of them not funded by political actors? Are they not the same thugs that are used during elections?
Yeah, hello, are you there? Hello? Mr. Rufai, can you hear us? Okay, I don't know. I don't know. Network can be, frustrating sometimes, but whether the network likes it or not, we'll also have a great show this morning. I will try to reconnect with him because he has, a few more minutes before we reach out to Larry Oguego, who is always on standby. But let's still wait for the network to connect and let him give his, wrapping thoughts on the NLC protest.
While we're still waiting, we're live on YouTube. It's at Voice of the People Abuja. Voice of the People Abuja. You can also join the conversation right here in the studio. The phone number to call
is 0700 010 961 961. 0700 010 961 961. You're welcome back. Yeah, hello, Mr. Rufai. Okay, so we apologize for the network this morning. And of course, in the news, while we're talking about the world news earlier, AT&T apologized and are even paying their customers, for having a moment of network blackout. But in Nigeria, we've seen these network providers consistently have poor and terrible network,
and no apologies whatsoever. Not to even talk of compensations.
They frustrate our efforts as journalists when we try to do our job. At the end of the day, I think it's about time we find a way to push SERAP. Let them help us fight this battle, because they are fond of fighting battles for Nigerians. Anyway, let's reach out to Rufai sitting right back and quickly get to hear what he has to say before we wrap up with him and move on to another.
Mr. Rufai said something really interesting. He talked about the fact that every time there's a protest and then there are thugs hijacking those protests, it has an element of state in it. Do you actually agree with that particular statement? Join us on the conversation. It's at 0700 010 961 961. Were you confused? Okay, let me break down the number. It is 0700 010 961 961. I'll take that again. 0700 010 961 961. Call us on the phone and let's have a conversation. You can also leave a comment on our YouTube channel. It is at Voice of the People Abuja. Voice of the People Abuja. We've talked a little bit about NLC and how their planned protest is going to occur tomorrow, starting tomorrow for 2 days, even though we've been hearing conversations about extensions of those protests rather. Simeon.
Okay, let's still. Have we gotten through to Rufai Seni? Are we yet?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Anyway, we have calls coming in. Let's just hear your thoughts for a bit and then move on to more trading headlines right here. Hello, good morning to you. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Hello.
Hello. Good morning. Can you hear us?
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead, sir.
Hello.
Okay, sorry, apologies. Feel free to call us right back. Do well to call us 0700 010 961 961. 0700 010 961 961. Welcome back. Hello. Yes, we can hear you. It's a bit muffled, but
can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay.
Yes, you were telling us about an element of state, hijacking?
Yes, so as I was saying before, I think I finished. There's always an element of state hijacking state, and that's what Joe Ajero wrote in letter. So I think we should go and strike. Government should hold obligations and as simple. That's it.
Okay, and now you get to ask yourself, what is the place of the police in, ensuring that this protests are not even hijacked in the first place? Because the same police are the ones always coming out to tell us the protests might be hijacked. What is their responsibility in all of this?
That's why that's why it's
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. El-Rufai, for joining us this morning.
Okay, thank you. Okay, have a great morning. I just read the network, was friendly enough for today. But let's get back to taking your calls. Hello, 0700 010 961 961 0700 010-961-961.
Yes, element of state in hijacking planned protests. Simeon asked about, the police and their role in ensuring, that elections protests rather are peaceful. Well, we have a call this morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead, please. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, Sylvester on the line. Yeah, I enjoy your program. I know what you're discussing about. The state hijacking protest is a given. But that's not where I'm going. Where I'm going is with respect to these network issues. Each morning I tune to your program to listen to El-Rufai. This network keeps occurring. Two things you need to do. One, option one, either you get another line with which you use to interface with Mr. El-Rufai. Or secondly, another option, Mr. El-Rufai should connect to WhatsApp using data, not using a modem, not the network of his phone. Using modem, and you guys connect to him also via modem. You either do voice WhatsApp call or you do MS Team call. That's better because every morning, if I had an alternative of listening to El-Rufai other than this channel in Abuja, I would definitely tune to that. So network eruption is a given in Nigeria. So you devise an alternative. The normal phone call is not going. It's a given. Please look for an alternative means. Either via WhatsApp calls, you use data, he uses data. Modem, not the network we are using to answer normal call. Please. Some of us listen to this thing, it reaches us. And when we come every day, network is not letting us, it's not a good one. Please.
Okay.
Please.
Thank you, Sylvester. Noted. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Our team of engineers will do all they can to ensure that they get this corrected. From our end, we try as much as possible to use other data services than reaching out to him. So now we don't even know where the issue is from, but we'll try to get that sorted. Thank you for
your
notifying
feedback.
us.
Yes, and it would be really good if you even left us a WhatsApp message. Since you say you listen all the time, Mr. Sylvester, try as much as you can to drop us a WhatsApp message every now and then. And also for anyone else out there listening, and you want to join the conversation, go ahead and do just that. 0700 010 961 961. We'll take a break, pay some bills, and when we come back, we'll be talking with Mr. Larry Oguego. Ensure that you keep it locked right here. Good morning.
You can take the boy out of radio, but you can't take the radio out of the boy, can you?
Broadcasting in high definition.
Voice of the people, 96.1 FM.
Today's sun is so hot though. So what are you waiting for? Get the authentic taste of creamy cold berry ice cream. To order online from Gariki, call 090-8831-5907. Guarimpa 090-8831-5909. And Lugbe 090-8845-3416.
Enjoy authentic cold berry ice cream.
Are you traveling to Lagos and desire a perfect getaway?
Look no further than the luxurious accommodations at Airport Golden Tulip Hotel, number 42 Murtala Mohammed International Road, Lagos.
Relax and unwind in our beautiful appointed rooms, featuring all the amenities you need
for a comfortable stay.
Now, whether you are traveling for business or pleasure, our attentive staff is here to ensure that your every need is met. We also offer complimentary pickup and drop from the Lagos airport.
Why not take advantage of our state-of-the-art fitness center, outdoor pool, and enjoy a delicious meal at our on-site restaurant?
With stunning views, world-class service, and a prime location, Airport Golden Tulip Hotel is the perfect choice for your next vacation or business trip.
So why wait? Book your stay today and experience the ultimate in comfort and luxury at Airport Golden Tulip Hotel.
For bookings and reservations, please call 0815-8003-333 or 0815-7003-333. You can visit our website at airportgoldentuliphotel.com.
Airport Golden Tulip Hotel, where luxury meets comfort.
Believe me. Are you aware that Iruka Online Limited installed and designed a 100,000 capacity church building? Oh yeah, we are the sole distributors of global leading brands all over the world, such as Wafday Line Array, speakers and digital amplifiers, Preseno's digital mixers and studio equipment, Coswell workstations and keyboards, Fender guitars, Mapex drums, Ashdown bass combos, just to mention but a few. We offer flexible payment plan handled by our financial department with 24/7 customer care support system. You can visit our website on www.iruka.com to avoid buying fake products. You can also visit our showroom at number 36 Lagos International Airport Road beside Golden Tulip Hotel. Iruka, never settle for less.
You're welcome back. Frontpage review on Voice of the People 96.1 FM. Thank you for staying tuned. We'll be joined by Mr. Larry Oguego in just a moment. But before that,
remember, you can actually join us live as we are streaming on YouTube. Voice of the People Abuja is the YouTube page. Feel free to subscribe, drop a comment as well. Most times, if you try to call us and you cannot get through, just drop a comment on social media. That's on YouTube, and we will get to read them. And of course, we are going through some of the headline. We started with the NLC protest. The protest that is about to happen tomorrow, which Joe Ajero, the NLC president, have actually said they are going ahead with the protest despite warnings from the presidency as well as the Nigerian police.
Mr. Larry, good morning.
Good morning, Jason. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How was your weekend?
Great. Had my sober weekend.
And you rested a bit?
Little reflection, little rest, little reflection, and a little work as usual. But it was a good weekend. Thinking about Nigeria as usual.
All right. Let's start with this particular statement made by Mr. Bayo Nanuga. He talked about the fact that Tinubu acted in Nigeria's best interest by announcing the removal of petrol subsidy on the day of his inauguration on May 29th, 2023. And he said Nigeria was in serious financial trouble and it prompted the president to act before things got worse. Well, at that point in time, Mr. Larry, where do we draw the line, especially with supporters of a particular or staff of a particular political party that is in power, making statements to Nigerians, making it look as though Nigerians are they do not understand? Because yes, it's one thing to make a statement, it's another to make a statement well prepared for the job. What exactly do you think about this?
I think we need to recognize the fact that our political elite thrive on psychophancy, and telling the leaders, the people what they want to hear. That is, they tell their bosses what they want to hear, rather than what they need to hear. They are two different things. Most of the political advisors and associates say what the president wants to hear, not what he needs to hear. And we have also perfected the art of lying to the extent that sometimes we tell lies so frequently that the lies begin to sound like the truth. It's a big problem. When you repeatedly say something, some people begin to believe you just because you are holding on to that narrative. So we have a fundamental problem here. Most of our political leaders understand that a lot of Nigerians are gullible, but like the great Bob Marley said, you can fool some people sometimes, but you can't fool all the people all the time. And that's what we are experiencing here. They're trying to fool us all the time. The simple truth is that we all agreed, well, not all of us, but at least most of us agree that there's so much corruption in fuel subsidy and everything that it should be removed. But how it was removed was a total disaster. We are not discussing the fact that Mr. President removed fuel subsidy, but we don't remove it on a podium without a team in place, without a plan in place to mitigate the impact, without refineries working, without a clue as to how you manage the chaos that it was going to cause. So even though guy knows that he's lying to himself, he didn't act in the best interest of Nigerians. You don't talk before you think, and that is the problem that Mr. President had when he made that announcement. He actually spoke before thinking, and that's the same mistake Bayananoga is making now. He's speaking before thinking, and we don't agree. Personally, I don't agree with his position, and most Nigerians don't agree with his position. And I think politicians should begin to understand that we are not stupid. We also have a thinking head, so they shouldn't tell us things anything they like at all. No, it doesn't hold water at all. He didn't act in the best interest of Nigerians. He may have intended to, but he didn't, because at the end of the day, even a person who just finished secondary school economy should realize that you don't make such an important announcement without putting in place how to manage the outcome of the announcement. So that wasn't in the best interest of Nigeria.
Okay, as much as you say that wasn't the removal of the fuel subsidy as said, opposed by Onanuga, that it was in the best interest of Nigeria. Now let's look at this new development. Is this in the best interest of Nigeria? I want to hear your opinion, as Tinubu has now rallied Dangote, Lumelu, others to stabilize the economy. Just recently, we saw the president, inaugurate what it called the Economic Advisory Panel. We've seen, notable individuals from the private sector being drafted into this advisory panel. What you have noted at the likes of Aliko Dangote, the chairman of Dangote Group. We've also seen UBA chairman Tony Elumelu. We've seen some individuals, mentioned by the government as well, the president. Will this economic, advisory committee basically do its job and revamp the economy from what we find ourselves at this moment?
I think it's a good idea that Mr. President is beginning to agree that he doesn't have all the answers. He is actually beginning to sound a little different and a little humbled by the circumstances surrounding our economy. So he has admitted that he doesn't have all the answers. He doesn't want to be accused of not trying to solve the problem, and he is seeking help. That in itself is a good move. That in itself shows that he has acknowledged that this thing is spinning out of control and will have to do for instance. If you had the same attitude before you removed the fuel subsidy, we won't be in this mess. If you had the same attitude that's making consultation before floating the naira, we won't be in this mess. But these are as it may, let's say better late than never. But I think I also need to look at the quality of the people we assembled. There is this impression we have in Nigeria about the economy being strictly related to big business. And it's dangerous, because if you look at the people we assembled, we have the representatives of the federal government, the state government, and the organized private sector. And when you talk about the organized private sector, you talk about big players like Dangote, Cement, Lumelu. So it was basically a meeting of a meeting of high net worth individuals, high net worth business men, and then a few professional stakeholders like Manufacturers Association of Nigeria (DG) was there, which is good. But one of the things I've noticed is that when we make consultations in Nigeria and when we discuss economic revival, we don't think about SMEs. Actually, the most prosperous nations in the world grew on the back of SMEs, not necessarily just on the back of big business. Big business is good, but you see, as long as we neglect SMEs, as long as we refuse to acknowledge that even the big businesses grew from the SMEs, we'll be getting it wrong. Very often we channel all our attention, or at least most of our attention, into attracting direct foreign investment and bringing big businesses. That is not bad. But a situation where you neglect SMEs is very dangerous, because the Microsoft we are celebrating today actually started in a garage. I mean, if you go and look at the history of the biggest businesses in the world, most of them started small. They were SMEs at some point. They were startups at some point. So a situation where you have this assemblage of men who are supposed to give advice to Mr. President on economic revival, and you don't have people who can represent the SME sector in a credible way, in my opinion, is a gap that we should begin to fix as we get into this kind of conversation in future. And if we are talking about economic revival, we should also make sure that we consult people who are experts in social change communication. Economic revival is not just about money and business. It's also about whether people believe in the country. It's also about whether people believe in their leadership. It's about things that are not seen, not just about the price of the dollar. It's also about how you feel about your country. So I think it's a good idea that is thinking about an advisory team. But I also think that the advisory team would have probably involved a few more sectors, not just the big business in the organized private sector. But we should also look at how we can get effective representation for the small businesses. We have Megan. If the DG of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria was invited, I don't see why Megan shouldn't be represented by small medium enterprise development of Nigeria. So when we look at all of these things, we should begin to ask ourselves, should we continue focusing on only big business to the detriment of growing millions of small enterprises that are scattered all over Nigeria? So a good idea, a good concept to make consultations, but I think there are a few loopholes. But like I said, better late than never, and better now than never. Let them just start. Maybe as we move, we'll correct our mistakes.
All right, Mr. Larry, at some point we've been talking about religious leaders making statements, especially as it has to do with politics and the polity and all that. Over the course of the weekend, we had a serving overseer of a particular church, Pastor Tunde Bakari rather. He was expressing the worry over what he described as an over-bloated government, saying the numbers of civil servants must be slashed. This is what he said. He said, we have an over-bloated government, it should be slashed, and let us empower citizens to introduce them to the Jewish phenomenon where everyone has a trade. And he challenged the reliance on the government for job creation, advocating for a reduction in civil service, and then empowering individuals to explore diverse talents and all that. The problem of the overbloating of the government right now, do you think it's in line with what Pastor Tunde has said, or it's a situation where we are having a few government officials having an over-bloated budget for their particular position? Example, the National Assembly, who has sitting allowances, clothing allowances and the likes of that. We have stationary allowances as well in the National Assembly. If you look at different things, you'd begin to wonder if they're the ones with the issues or it's the civil servants.
They need the stationaries now.
I actually think we have Yes, I think we have the problem of institutions like the National Assembly actually abusing the privileges they have to make laws for the country by appropriating our commonwealth to themselves. That is a genuine problem. But we also have a genuine problem in our overbloated civil service. That one is obvious. I mean, even the blind can see that, with all due respect. Why do I say so? We live in a country where most local government areas have staff who do not go to work, except towards the end of the month to go and sign in and collect their checks. In fact, our local government system is so overbloated, that is, they don't do anything. We all know that they have been emasculated by the state governments. They don't do anything at all. And then they keep getting new staff, and the staff strength keeps increasing. So you ask yourself, these staff, what do they do really? And it's not just about the state, the local government. You also have the challenge with the state governments. You have challenge with federal. Where I was in a radio station one day. This happened right in my presence. And 7 young people walked into the office of the GM when we were holding a meeting. And they were sent from Abuja to be employed by the radio station. 7 for a small radio station. And the particular radio station that I'm talking about had 5 accountants. 5 qualified accountants for one small radio station. And these accountants actually shared the days they would come to work. I'm telling you what I know. That is, I mean, it's okay, Larry, come to work on Monday, Gacy, come on Tuesday, Simon Peters, come on Wednesday. And these are people who are paid full salaries to work the whole week. So they had a glut of accountants. They had a glut of presenters, a glut of engineers. And these people are paid salaries. Meanwhile, they don't get to work to justify the money they are paid. So it's not it's something that we should guess about or pretend about. As a matter of fact, I will link it to something that happened recently, which we may not fully appreciate. But the fact that some state governments, Lagos just told that part. In the past, we also had a state government say, come to work for 3 days in a week. So if you can sustain your ministry and operations with people coming to work, staggering the civil servant to come to work 3 days in a week, doesn't that suggest that you have a bloated civil service? Because how do you sustain it if you had the right number, if the number was just appropriate? You can't let anybody go away for 2 days and you still operate. Working from home is not an option in Nigeria. We like telling ourselves lies. The person who you are saying that is working virtually doesn't have a laptop. It does. Most of the old civil servants can. They are not savvy with IT. You work from home. And we don't have a system that is digital. What I mean is you can do 90% of government transactions cannot be done online. So when you say that working from home, you are trying to deceive us. There's nothing like working from home. Because they have too many workers, you can stagger their coming to work and say, okay, you and you come on Monday, you and you, because they have always been idle, so they can as well just share the days and come to work. Some days and leave off some days. So we have to do something about the overbloated public service. But having said that, I must also commend some of the suggestions that Tunde Bakare made. We should look away from this issue of white collar jobs. People should have skills through which they can contribute to the system. People should have skills through which they can augment their income and contribute to society. One major reason we are not competing as a nation in the international business stage is because we don't give enough to the world. We give the world only crude oil, not even processed products, and we expect the world to give us every other thing, from toothpick to tissue paper to cars to wristwatches, everything. And what are we contributing to the world economy? Nothing, apart from crude oil, which we don't control the pricing, we don't control anything about it, we don't add value to it. So when we get people to begin to think about developing skills, then what will happen is that we can give the world more. Let me say something that is very important. Do you know that we import furniture from Turkey? And it's a shame that with the advanced furniture industry that has been concentrated in Edo State for decades, we are still importing furniture from Turkey. We import apparel from Turkey. But our boss started showing clothes to world standards before Turkey even started. And we have not done anything with it. So I think in suggesting that we should develop skills, he's right on point. People should have skills. Okay. That will change our economy.
Okay, and quickly away from that, let's move on to other matters. This one is quite, touching for me. I felt really terrible when I heard this particular story and I saw the videos. On The Nation this morning, you see the headline written, APC mourns member, 6 others in stampede at customs yard. Of course, this is owing to the fact that it is reported that some individuals lost their lives as a result of buying the discounted custom rice in Lagos. APC have actually officially come out to actually confirm the death of one of his members, and they report that 6 other persons also died on Friday as a result of customs selling 25 kg of bag of rice for 10,000. And there are other reports that the custom decided to even give some for free to Nigerians, but the stampede was the problem at the end of the day, people losing their lives.
This is a sad commentary on how low we have sunk as a nation, because this person that is confirmed dead and all the other persons who we are not sure whether they died or not will never eat rice again forever. They gave their life for rice. That's how desperate Nigerians have become. That's how impoverished we have become. I'm sure that some of us, a lot of, yes, they gave their life for rice, not because they wanted to, but because, for many of them who were killed in that stampede, I will tell you, Simeon Sunday, I'll tell you why they died. They didn't die because they wanted to die scrambling for rice. They died because they were probably going to die if they didn't scramble for rice. When they looked ahead of them, they just saw hunger and death. And then when they looked at the rice, they saw a glimmer of hope, a small glimmer of hope that they maybe, if the fight had enough, they'll get this rice and survive. So for them, it was a do or die affair. Get this rice just so that you will live. I'm sure you didn't go for the rice. Neither did Gessi, nor did I, because I don't need the rice to survive. But that tells you the story of Nigerians. I said on this particular platform that APC, the people who have benefited from politics and the Nigerian economy, the leaders who have made good money, and even benevolent businessmen, not only in APC but in other parties, should establish food banks. I said it a few days ago. And the food banks should be scattered in different places according to need. It's also insensitive of the Nigerian customs, with all due respect, to bring thousands of people to one place to buy rice. These things happen because we don't learn from history. There was a time a minister called thousands of unemployed Nigerians and asked them to come to this different stadia
for an interview.
Employment, and we lost people. Crowd control is a critical matter. It's a very sensitive matter. Just one wrong move and people will just die. It has happened in stadia after football matches or during football matches. It has happened in Nigeria because people went to look for jobs. It is happening now because we went to look for rice. I think we need to learn to think. I've always said that we should grow a thinking nation. The fact that you want to give us rice is good, but the question becomes, how do you give us the rice? Are you thinking ahead? Are you thinking about possibilities? Are you thinking about stampede? You can't just bring people to one spot and say, come and buy rice. You should create channels. You should mitigate some of these risks. But it is a sad commentary on the state of Nigeria that people will actually give their lives for rice. That is how low the APC government has brought us.
All right, Mr. Larry, let's move on to the National Assembly, where we're seeing the senators considering the conduct of all elections on the same day. We're hearing reports here and there that there's a bill that's been sponsored that has already passed first reading, and they're looking at the process of amending the Electoral Act and hopefully to come on stream before 2027. They're saying that they want to, though details of the bills have not been made public, however, they're looking at electronic transmission of results and voting, holding all elections in one day, and then the primaries of political parties may actually form the thrust of the proposed amendment. If you're looking at it, we're looking at last elections that occurred where we saw the court saying that transmission of results in real time did not substantially affect the outcome of the elections, even though INEC had paraded the IRF portal as something that was going to be as a Hail Mary, during the last elections. And then we also had, National Assembly members who are almost always cut out of, political parties' primaries and the process by the state governors. I'm sure they're trying to work on that as well. What do you think?
The truth is that it will help politics in Nigeria if we can just have the whole elections in one day. My opinion is simple. If you can vote for 3 candidates in one day, you can vote for 5. And if we can automate the election processes and then make the IRF really work. It was a charade during the last election. It was a disgrace. But if we can make it work reasonably well, what will happen is that we can cast and vote for different candidates, and these things should be uploaded, and we are done. We cannot keep shutting down the whole country for elections. We cannot keep shutting down our economy because we're holding elections 2 consecutive Saturdays. And it's even a shame that we have to shut down the country because we're holding elections. It doesn't happen like that in other times. It shows that we have not actually matured after more than 60 years of practicing this our democracy. It's sad, and it's something that would change the outcome of voting because doing calculations. That's what we call the bandwagon effect. I think people should be allowed to vote on the basis of who they want to vote for. So if they come that day, they will vote. The vote will be counted and we will get the result and then we can move on. It's a good idea. That is if the political elite will permit it. I can tell you with all the confidence that if that happened, if this pattern was used in 2023, the outcome of the Guba elections would have been dramatically different. You can put it dramatically different. Because sometimes when you allow the presidential election to come on, then after the election, some people will plan how to rig, some people will plan how to intimidate, some will plan how to buy votes, some people will say, as it is, it appears people don't like me, let me do something. But when we bring the whole elections on the same day, people will just vote for their candidates, and that will be the end of the game. Because democracy is about people choosing their leaders without undue influence and manipulation. Maybe one day, as these questions come up and newspaper headlines come up, we will discuss the foundation of democracy and some of the systems that were used in some other crimes to protect the people from undue manipulation and unfair influence. As long as we have that undue manipulation and unfair influence, we can't say we are practicing democracy, really. We are still allowing the political elites to determine who comes out of, and we still claim that is about. That's why we always say that refrain: our vote must count, our vote must count. The thing that something that our vote must count is that they are not counting now.
Okay.
And we are not counting. So what's the sense of democracy? Okay. But we don't give up. We keep trying to invent the process, especially with the involvement of the people. I don't trust our political elites. I've always said that having good laws doesn't necessarily mean good implementation or good outcomes. The people should be involved. These political elites will tell you one thing and then they refuse to do them. Look at what happened. Sorry, let me just mention this. We woke up one day and they told us that you can't move from one party to another as if you are putting your phone line. That if you contest for primaries and you want to be a senator, that you cannot come back and go and contest it. I mean, we all had it. But what has happened? They put it in the dustbin and just continued as if the law didn't exist. And even the court validated some of these controversies. The impression I had personally, was that without legislation, you had to choose the lane on which you run. And then if you choose that race and lose, you go home. But that wasn't the case. So we have a problem. People must come out to protect our democracy in different ways.
All right.
Thank you so much, Mr. Larry Ogwegu, for joining us this morning right here on Front Page Review. I just wish we had more time, but there's no time. But I just want to hear your thoughts just within, well put in 10 seconds. We saw Qatar backtracking on their statement over the weekend. Some people were like, hey, Qatar will no longer be hosting the business, Nigeria business forum. And now they backtracked and said they are going to host it. What really happened in 10 seconds? What's your thoughts?
Sorry, unfortunately, I didn't. There was a glitch on my phone. I didn't hear that question. Sorry, just can repeat
Okay,
it.
in 10 seconds, what do you think about Qatar backtracking on hosting Nigeria Business Forum? We saw a letter released over the weekend of Qatar saying they cannot host, their officials will be on official assignments. Because of this, they cannot do it. But later, they backtracked and they are willing to host, the Nigeria Business Forum. 10 seconds.
Well, it's not only a surprise, but it shows how much respect we command on the international stage. It's just sad. This was the giant of Africa. Today, we are being treated like the house boys of Africa. I don't know, but we have to up our game. We have to show more responsibility. We have to show more presence on the international stage. We have to demonstrate that even if we are wobbling giant, we are still a giant, but we have to come back to becoming the strong giant again. It's a sign that we are not in contention on the global stage.
Thank you, Mr. Larry.
Yes, always my pleasure.
All right, have a good day. All right, thank you so much to you listening to Voice of the People 96.1 FM. This is the Front Page Review right here, and we'll come back tomorrow at 7:15. Make sure you join us, check some of the headlines and lend your voice to the conversation as well. After all, we are the voice of the people. My name is Gesere.
And I am Simeon Sunday. Catch you at the top